Hello everyone. Today I want to share my thoughts on airplane engine that I had the last couple of days. You see, when in scrap mechanic an airplane is built, and I'm talking about propeller prop planes here. Uh, from what I've seen in the workshop, most creators solve it like this. They attach either a gas engine or an electric engine to the propeller, and that's it. So in this case I have both because I want to demonstrate both. Normally it's just one. So yeah, what happens is you can just turn on and off the engine, and with the electric engine it's spinning quite fast, it's okay, but it's this annoying electric sound that you don't have in a piston engine like this. So that's not very good. And for the piston engine, well, it just starts up right away. I mean, it sounds okay. It just sounds like an idling piston engine. So sadly, there's no way to get this sound to sound differently. To actually hear that the engine is powering up. But I guess that's fine, and that's what we have to deal with. But I don't like the way it starts up. It's not like in the airplane. It's not like you just push a button and then the engine is running, right? So what I came up with is a new system. I'm going to show it to you. No, I'm going to show it first on this engine mockup. Uh, you see, I got some logic involved in this. And this also uses an electric engine and a piston engine. So why do I need two engines? Just because in the real engine you also have both. Because you have a small electric engine just to crank the propeller, and eventually the piston engine will start up. So what this logic does is um, for a given amount of time it just cranks the propeller with the electric engine, and then once that certain time has passed, 2 seconds. Yeah, it's 2 seconds by default. Once this time has passed and you didn't let go of the starter button, the engine will fire up. Yeah, and what this also does is it doesn't give a constant signal to the electric starter engine, so it will pause every so often. Because when you start up a piston engine, you get that distinct sound. It doesn't sound like this, like a continuous sound, but as the resistance goes up and drops within the engine, yeah, the electric motor will have it easier or harder to turn it, and you get that distinct sound from a starting piston engine, right? So I'm just gonna show you how this works. So first you gotta turn the master switch on. Like almost all my creations have a master switch. In this case, this would be for a piston engine, probably battery switch, also the mixture and all that stuff. So this is to get the engine actually ready to start up. As you see, this is the starter button, and when the master is off, nothing will happen. So yeah, if everything is on and we press the starter, this is what happens, right? And that's more like it, in my view. This this is how a starting up piston plane engine looks, and also kind of sounds. So I don't think uh, there's any way to fix the sound. So that's just what we're gonna have to deal with. And if we hold the button for 2 seconds, the engine will start up. Right, and now this button doesn't do anything anymore, and we can turn the engine off with this button. Right. So if anyone is interested, I will upload the module. I'm gonna show you this in a minute. Upload it to the workshop, and this is just what's in there, spread out. So that's maybe there's an easy way to do this. I used 27 blocks. That's a little bit less because these take 2 blocks, but it's a 3 by 3 by 3 system. So I think it's 21 logic blocks and 3 timers. That sounds about right. Yeah. So basically what happens is this green stuff and the red stuff do the electric engine, so this just generates a pulse like every, even know, every 0.05 seconds. Okay, is this true? Well, I don't know. Mostly I build that stuff and instantly forget what I did, and I'm happy as long as it works. What happens is we get a 3-tick pulse out of this system, and this is just inverted here, so the engine is on when the starter button is pressed, but every 20th of a second, I don't know, there's a cut to the signal, so it stops for 3-tick period and then starts again, right? So this is what happens then. And then here you can see the timer starts, 2-second timer, 3-second timer. Okay, well, you can adjust it. If you think, okay, I have a very old engine, you can go up to I don't know, 6 or 7 seconds if you want. And if you want to have a new engine, just go to 1 second, and after that time this circuit will complete and start the piston engine, and also via this connection will turn off the starter engine. So yeah, crank it 1 second and it's starting, and you see this gate is off, and therefore we cannot use the starter engine anymore. Right, so this is what I've built out of it. Just a very compact system. You can also, if you really need that 3 by 3 by 3 space, you can get rid of these engines. These are also the modded engines. So I also colored the blocks they are fed from. So you can just go on and delete these engines and connect these blocks here to wherever your electric and piston engine are. And this side is the input, so yellow in my case is always the master, and red is the starter engine. Right, and all you need to do then is get a bearing and get a piece of pipe, and let's just take some wood. So all you need is 2 bearings and a piece of pipe in between. And yeah, a propeller. And what you can do then is you can just, let's just weld it better. Right, now we need a switch and a button. Master switch and starter button. I'm not gonna color this for this demonstration. So connect this to this, and this to this, and then maybe I'm gonna make this a little longer so you see it better. Crap. Come on. Alrighty, so as you can see, the start is not working. Did I even hook up? I didn't hook up the engines. This is hooked up, so this goes here, doesn't really matter. This goes here, as long as they're in the same direction. Right, so now we can turn on the master and start her up. Right? Pretty simple. Let's just turn this off. That's annoying. Right. So what you also can do is you can have more engines and you have a distinct starter switch for each engine, but it's not a must. Will show you both different possibilities you have um, with this system. So first possibility is you go up the master to both of the engines. Where is it? It's here, and then the distinct starter switches to each starter gate. So what this does now is you have a master for both of them, and you can turn the engines on one by one. And now both engines are running. If you don't want to waste three buttons just on the engines, because you know you have doors and lights and stuff, you can do it with one button, so that the engines start up automatically. So all you have to do for this is just remove the what did I do now? Nope. Remove the starter connections, and also I'm going to remove this connections. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Yeah, just hook up the switch to both of them. That's working because the starter circuit is cut off anyways once the engine is running, so it doesn't matter if this switch is connected to the starter and always on when the engine is running. Doesn't matter. You can hook up the other engine in the same way, but I wouldn't do it in real life. I wouldn't start both engines at the same time. You know, it puts a lot of stress on the battery. Not a good idea. So if you want it automatically to start in sequence, you just put a timer in between. And when the engine takes 2 seconds to start up, let's say we take 3 seconds pause, and then just like with the other engine, connect these two. And you can't see the system, but it is always on the back in the middle row, the outer two gates. Left is the starter and right is the master. So when you build this into your into your creations, just make sure that this is to the front, or at least you know where the front is. If you got the engines still attached, you know it's always on the opposite side of the engine. So here's the starter and here's the master. So now we're running on one button, and as soon as we turn it on, the engines will start in sequence. Right. So I'm going to put this up in the workshop. I'm going to put the link in the description, so you can play around with it. Right. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the turboprop engine, as seen on this Dash 8. Because it's the same story like with the piston engine. When you put a piston engine here or a electric engine, it will just start up right away and rotate, and that's not how it is in real life. And also the sound is not right. You can't have a piston sound here or an electric sound, because this is basically a jet engine. Yeah, in case you don't know how a turbojet works, I'm gonna go over it real quick. So basically, you have just your normal jet engine in here, like you have in any other airliner. So It has an air intake. It takes the air, it compresses the air in different stages, mixes it, mixes the air with fuel, lights it up, and sends it out through a compressor stage. And the compressor, no, not the compressor, sorry, the turbine stages. And the turbine stages are linked to the compressor, and so the turbine will drive the compressor. It's a system that holds itself alive. But in order to start it up, you have to give it some inertial rotation, and you do this with an electric starter motor. In some cases, some engines just blow compressed air into the turbines just to get them to spool up. So the way I solve this in the dash, and for this I'm going to go inside, is I don't have either an electric nor a piston engine in here, but I have thrusters. And as you see, at the moment, these are pointed towards each other, but are sitting on bearings. So the bearings are connected to a controller that initially very, very slowly and then faster turn these thrusters so they actually give a rotational force. But in the first moment, only the thrusters are running and pushing against each other, and the propeller is not moving. You know, in the real turboprop engine, the propeller is connected to the last turbine stage, and also connected by a gearbox, because the turbine is just rotating too fast. It would disintegrate the propeller. So only if the engine is running at a certain speed, the propeller will start moving. If you watch videos on turboprop engine starting up, you will hear the engine inside spool up, and then very, very slowly the propeller will start spinning, and it's free spinning. So yeah, once we get outside I can show you this, but probably gonna believe me anyway. It's on a free bearing, so you can hit the propeller and it will rotate. It's like that in real life. You can just very easily rotate a propeller on a turboprop engine. It's more difficult than a piston engine because of the resistance. You can still do it. Yeah, but if I press the button to start it, this one has this engine has only one button to start, so it automatically starts the thrusters and then very slowly starts to rotate the thrusters. And when you compare it to the real thing, it takes a little bit longer in real life, but you know who has time for that in scrap mechanic. It's okay if it's a little bit faster and you get your engines ready. Yeah, a little bit quicker. So yeah, and then we can just turn this off and the engine will spool down. Now, what you also can do is attach two buttons to the engines. Like, oh, okay, I can show you this if I'm here. So it's free spinning. Yeah, what you can do is connect two buttons. So the front button is connected to the thrusters and the back button is. Okay, this is the controller that controls the thruster rotation. So what is this good for? Well, I don't know if the Dash 8 has it in real life, but I'm pretty sure the ATR 42 has it. It's a so-called propeller brake that allows the engine inside to run, but brakes the propeller so it doesn't move. The reason for this is, in most airliners, at least if they have a certain size, you have an auxiliary power unit, an APU. So this is a tiny jet engine which is normally located in the back of the plane, and I'm pretty sure that the Dash 8 300 doesn't have one. The Q400 does, as far as I know. It's just a little jet engine that's running in ground operations and providing electricity, and I think also hydraulic pressure for the airplane system, so you don't have to run on battery, because normally uh, airplane batteries aren't the best. So if you want a really good and long-lasting battery in an airplane, it has to be big and heavy. So most airplane batteries are crap. So you can either hook the airplane up to a ground power source, or you have the APU. In this case, I just built this into my Dash A300. I don't care if it has it in real life, because it's just nice to have. You can start the thrusters and you can hear the engine is running, but the prop is not moving. And the reason why they built it into some airplanes is one of the engines is actually the power source for the airplane while on the ground, and it's generally the power source for the airplane. So you want to have a power source, but you also want people to be walking around here, to be able to walk around here. You load the plane, maybe board the plane if it's on the other side. But you can do that if there's a big 4-meter propeller spinning violently. You just go here and then you're dead, and you don't want that. It just costs too much. So yeah, we have this engine running, and once we are ready, once this sector is clear, we can just let go of the propeller brake and in fact, yeah, enable the controller, and then the engine will spool up and be ready to go. Right, so I think that's about all I have on airplane engines today. So I'm gonna upload the starter logic from these engines. I will upload it to the workshop. Link is in the description. I might isolate this engine and also upload it just as a demonstration. Let's see. I don't know yet, but definitely the logic I will upload. Right. So thank you for watching, and bye bye.